Hello, everyone. Welcome to our migraine strategy session. I am Debbie Waidl. I am here today with a very special guest. We're here for our migraine strategy call, as we always are. And Tonya has joined us today. She is a graduate of the Freedom from Migraine Method Complete program and a current member of our Freedom from Migraine Method alumni membership. So Tonya, thanks for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Amazing. Before we get started, we're going to jump into your story, but would you like to just share a little bit about yourself with everyone before we dive in?
Oh, sure. I am a mom of two adult sons now. Work full time, as most people probably do. And I've been dealing with migraines since probably my mid-20s. I have had a bit of a roller coaster where sometimes they were better, sometimes they were worse. Right after my kids, they seemed better, then worse. And then now that I'm in later in life, for a while they've been better, then they got worse again. So here I am.
Yeah, that doesn't sound familiar to everybody watching right now.
I know.
That's why we use that word roller coaster,
Roller,
right?
yeah,
You find something online, it works a little bit, so then you're like, oh, I'm in a good place. And then that stops
exactly.
working, and then you like go down that hill and find
Mhm.
something else and move on up. So everybody give me a hello. Let me know you guys can hear me and see me over on Facebook. Let us know where you're watching from. And please, while we are doing this, if you have any questions for either one of us, go ahead and type them in chat. I've got my phone down here, so I'm going to try to do double duty and watch both at the same time. And we also have Valentina over there, a member of our team. Hello, Valentina. So she will make sure that if anyone has questions and I miss them, she will make sure that we don't miss them. Hey, Janet and Roseanne and Gina. Hello, everyone. Gina's watching from Minnesota. I bet it's cold there today. Shannon's here. Hello, Shannon. Good to see you from Washington. Hey, Tammy. Good to see you, Tammy. We've got a couple members of the Freedom from Migraine Method program on today, so I love that. I am in Rochester, New York. It is a crappy day here today. It has been raining
So,
for like 48
oh,
hours straight. I'm just hoping and praying. How many days do we have to the eclipse? Let's hope and pray that the
I
rain
know.
moves out and we can get the sunshine in. But anyway, let's dive in. I digress. So, Tonya, you were a member of the Women's Migraine Freedom Group, the group that everyone is watching from right now, for about 5 months before you decided to jump into our program. Um, what was the main reason when you jumped in? Because I know you jumped in the Women's Migraine Freedom Group looking for help. So,
Mhm.
what was the reason that you didn't really join us in our main program right away and you just kind of hung out over there for a while?
Well, I think there was a few things where there's so many, everybody probably knows there's so many things out there that are scams or
Mhm.
advertising of things. Do they really work? Do they not work? Is it just another thing that I'm going to try that's, not going to work? So that was one thing. Another is I was kind of in and out of the group a lot, where maybe not every day, maybe once a week, maybe not for a few weeks. And then I would see something else that kind of piqued my interest, and some of the other, I think, women that had been in the group and the coaches and the testaments. So I was originally thinking, I'm going to live my rest of my life taking whatever kind of medicines to try to get through these migraines. And I don't know if anything can ever help. So that was another reason where I wasn't really very hopeful that anything would work.
Mhm.
Um, and then I think the very last part was just the reluctance, like, should I really, to do anything for myself, really,
Mhm.
spend money, time away from other things, to try this new thing that I didn't know a lot about.
Yeah, that is hard, isn't it? I mean, I think first of all, as women, we find it hard to put ourselves first.
Mhm.
And when you've tried so many things, to have that faith, that hope that trying one more is going to be the right choice, the right decision.
Right.
It's kind of a hard thing to think about. I'm sure that resonates with quite a few people. Are you looking back? Are you still glad you waited those 5 months to join?
Uh, no, no, because I feel like, I've been, since I joined the program, it's been about 6 months, give or take. So I would have been, 5 months further into this, and almost in it for a year. So I think if I maybe had done a little more, paid a little more attention at the beginning instead of jumping in and out and being, pessimistic really. If I had been a little more open-minded, maybe I would have made that decision sooner.
Yeah, and that is no fault of your own, right? We are all the same. I think
Yeah.
almost every single woman, I shouldn't say every, but I think the majority of women that join this group, they kind of do what you did. They're popping in and out. You probably joined when you had a migraine or a migraine
Yep.
coming on, and you're like, I
Absolutely.
gotta find help right now.
Yep.
And then the next day, if you don't have a migraine, you start going about your own merry way. Maybe you
Mhm.
forgot you joined the group. Maybe you're on 50 million different groups on Facebook. So there's so much in your news feed. And it probably wasn't until you had another migraine or we popped up on your news feed again that you're like, oh yeah, I am in
Yeah.
the Women's Migraine Freedom Group, right? Maybe I should check it out again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have over 5,000 members and there's no way every
Oh,
single
wow.
member sees everything every day, right? Because you are in and out.
Right. And I remember responding to one of the things, and I don't remember the specific question, but I had said chat, if you wanted more help or whatever the word was for that one. And I had Kathy got in touch with me, and that's kind of what brought me in and got me thinking a little bit more about, there are some real stories here, and there, people helping here. So that's when I scheduled the call and found out a little bit more.
I'm so glad you said that because I know some people think that, they might get bothered by the fact that the team reaches out, but we don't reach out to try to push you to do anything. We're reaching out to try to make sure that there's help here. That there are resources here, whether that be free resources that we're sharing in a challenge or guides or whatever. Or if you do want that coaching, that it's here too. Because I don't think I think, like I said, we have over 5,000 women, and I bet maybe a couple hundred understand what the group is really about. So
Mm.
that's why we have this team, Kathy and Valentina and others, that just try to make sure everybody knows what's available here, what they can use so that they don't pop in and out like you for 5 months. So we
Yeah.
save you that time, right? Which kind
Yes.
of leads me to the next thing. You and I are very similar in this, where when we were kind of at the worst of our migraines, our kids were young. You
Yeah.
know, we miss so much. And I know we all have regrets, and we really shouldn't. We should just focus on, what life is now. But that is one of my biggest regrets, that I miss so much time with my kids. So what was that like for you, trying to parent young kids in pain?
It was tough. It was and like you said, I have regrets. Try not to focus on that, focus on going forward. But um like I said, I was working a lot of times, my kids were young, they were growing up in different levels of school, they were in just about every sport there was, school activities and friends. And so there was, work for, on during the week. And a lot of times it was, what is my medicine going to work today? Because I have to, after this full work day that I have to sit through and try to get through, it was more like just getting through the day because I
Mhm.
have to do, sports next or pick someone up or whatever it was. So I felt like, especially now that I'm looking back, I felt like it was more, how am I going to get through the day? Not how am I enjoying it and living, your best life, I guess. So it is very, regret. You have a lot of regret, but
Yeah, it's hard. And again, we're not here to say we should have
right,
regrets at
right.
all. We should
Yes.
always focus forward because there's nothing we can do to change that. But there are times I think about it.
Yep.
I just, with Easter just being last week, I was looking through some old photos, and I was trying to find one of all the kids with the Easter bunny. And I don't remember half of those times.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the photos and my kids are like, oh yeah, mom, remember we went and got ice cream after this one, and remember we went to grandma's after this one. And I'm like, I really don't.
Yeah.
Those are the times that it really kind of gets to me. It's like I was living in such a fog, whether it was pain or medication, that I don't remember those moments. And the kids said, you were smiling and you were, because I was faking it. We fake it till we make it, don't we? We are
Yeah.
like the best. And I suck at acting. I would never make it in Hollywood. I was a really good actress to my family,
Yeah.
which is so sad, that we
Yeah.
had to do that. But And now fast forward for you and kind of for me too, and it's my son and not my daughter, but if we fast forward, your son is struggling with migraines. You know,
Yes.
was that part of the reason that finally pushed you after that 5 months to make a decision to do this?
It certainly is. And I will say that it's probably the main reason I ended up doing it. And it, not that because he told me to or someone else told me to,
Mhm.
but I was saying to him, he still struggles, daily migraines, same thing that we had described. And I think it's even worse to see your child go through it than it was
Yeah.
for you to go through it. So I was trying to say, well, you could try to see a doctor or maybe a chiropractor or whatever it is,
Mhm.
acupuncture, eating better, all of those things. And then I kind of woke up one morning and thought, well, here I am. I have a migraine. I'm trying to take this medicine to get rid of it, and it's not working very well. So what am I going to go on to the next one again? So I felt like I was trying to give him advice and not following my own advice. So that I needed to kind of step up and lead by example, and maybe hopefully, I was crossing my fingers that it was going to be something that worked. And it certainly is and did. But really he was the main kind of push to
Yeah.
get me to think about myself and my health.
And still, right? Still, we're putting family first. So in this situation, it
Yeah,
was kind of good for you, right?
oh, it certainly was.
That gave you that little push. But isn't it funny how we still aren't putting ourselves first on a daily
Yeah.
basis? We're
Yep.
still not, and I think part of that is just our genetic makeup as mothers,
Yep.
that we were kind of made that way to always make sure that our tribe, our kids, that we keep them safe and we keep them going. But it is so important to remember that by you doing this, even though your son still has migraines, and your son did the sweetest video for us, man, he's a cute.
Did.
But he's at that rough age, right? Just like my son, where they don't want migraines, but they're not quite ready to make those changes yet.
Exactly.
They're not quite ready to do it. But the best give you can give him is to lead by example.
Yep.
And he's going to see eventually it will kick in because my son is now 28 and
Mhm.
it just started kicking in the last 3 months.
Oh,
And I bite my tongue because I don't want to say, like, I would never say I told you so, or I would never, I'm just
right.
nicely watching him do these things, but he's shifting his diet. Him and his wife are exercising. And
Yeah.
he actually said to me the day before Easter, he's like, Mom, I feel great.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And all I wanted to say was, when was your last migraine? But I didn't. But his wife popped in and said, you know what? He hasn't had any head pain in weeks. In weeks. And for my son, it was at least a couple times a week, at least, if not
Mhm.
daily, some level of pain.
Yep.
And it just because he wasn't following protocol, and here I am going, oh my God, I help thousands of women every year and I can't help my own kid.
Yep.
But she happened to say to me later, you helped him by example. You helped him by just doing it and backing off of not saying things. So I'm telling you that to know there's hope, and I'm telling that to everyone
Thank
else
you.
out there. The best thing is to lead by example, right? And we
Yep.
know that. We know that as parents, we're told that over and over
Yep.
again, right? You know,
Yep.
we don't need to talk to our kids. We just need to show them. So
Yeah.
so besides the migraines, the program can have some really great other side effects as well. And that's actually, for me, that's one of my favorite parts of the program, is to watch everyone's health
Yeah.
transform. So how did your health transform besides you finding more migraine freedom?
Well, I think if I think about it, the very first thing I noticed was probably after only a couple of weeks was that I was waking up in the morning not sore and like where you'd say, oh, kind of the comment being, oh, I'm getting old, so I'm just sore, or I'm waking up in the night because I'm uncomfortable and I have to change a move over or roll over. So that
Yeah.
was, I think, the first thing I noticed, that I was less achy everywhere, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the other thing that was really unexpected, or I wasn't trying to do necessarily, was so I lost little over 20 pounds and so far, and I wasn't at all looking for that, but it was just I followed the program.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, eating better, eating healthier. I had started based on the women's group before I joined, just eating real food. And I had always been pretty good about exercising, but being more consistent. So just trying to pick up those tips. I had started those things before. And I think the other thing, well, besides just general or feeling better, more energetic and less, brain fog of that you mentioned, you're not remembering things or just being, you're not sure if it's the medicine or the migraine symptoms, but that feeling of, saying things you totally don't mean was my big thing. My kids would say, "Did you take your medicine again?" Because I would say these things and I'd be like, I didn't mean that. But I think overall, and the mindfulness portion of the program is very big. And I think from that, I've gotten a lot more positive thinking, positive about things like that. Oh, I can overcome these things and I can get rid of the pain. So that's been really good.
Yeah, it just changes your life, right? When you can shift all those things.
It
I think
does.
so many women, when I chat with them, when I say, okay, how are you feeling? All I hear is my head
Good.
hurts, my neck hurts. And I'm like, okay, well, what else is going on? Well, nothing, my head and neck. But then when I dive in, I'm like, do you have any joint pain? Well, yeah. Are you exhausted? Well, yeah. Do you have brain fog? Well, yeah. I'm like, okay, so there's a lot more going on, but they
Right.
don't associate that as being connected with migraine.
Yeah, I certainly didn't.
Yeah, but it's all connected. So that is the great part about focusing on the protocol and focusing on the things that we do is it's not just a migraine fix. It is a literal overall health so that not only can you get rid of the head pain that you want to get rid of, but you can set yourself up for actually enjoying your life as you get older.
Mhm.
Because so many people talk about, oh, how we're living longer, we're living to 80, 90. Well, we are alive longer. There's a
Mhm.
difference between being alive and living, right?
Mhm.
And I think
Right.
so many people, like my grandmother, she lived to 93. She really stopped living and enjoying life in her 80s. And I think all of us here right now can probably say, we want to be living and enjoying and want to be that 80-year-old that can still go for a walk with her grandkids,
Yeah.
and not be stuck in a wheelchair or in a nursing home. And unfortunately, when we don't take care of the chronic inflammation, which we know is what's at the root of all this, that's where we'd all be headed.
Mhm.
Autoimmunity, cancer, heart disease, and not living life. But now we get to live life and we get to enjoy all that.
I
Oh, amazing people.
I do have one more thing. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
I went to a doctor's appointment last week and I never had a problem with blood pressure, so I'm not saying that, but my blood pressure was the lowest it's ever been in I don't know how many years. So it was never high, so I didn't start there, but
Yeah.
I said, really? That's what it is. So, so I think I'm like, oh, so all of it kind of comes full circle, I was thinking.
It does. And the older we get, the more we do have to focus on these things. A lot of
Mhm.
women say to me, well, my migraines didn't start increasing until perimenopause, so it's got to be hormones. And sure, there is a hormone component to it. Like, estrogen is actually an amazing hormone that helps keep inflammation down. So when we get closer to menopause, we don't have as much estrogen. So now we don't have this nice little tool that helps us reduce inflammation, which just means we have to do the job. We have to do it, right? Estrogen was like a bonus that we got for a long time. That was like, okay, because you ladies have to give birth, I'm going to give you this little bonus of this anti-inflammatory hormone, but now you're done having babies. So now you got to live life normally, right? But I think so many people think of it as, oh, well, my estrogen is gone. And that's something that I had to have. I was relying on it. Sure. Yes, it was great, but it was like a little bonus. And now we just have to do the work, which is what you did. You did the work and now we're here. Oh, hello, Chris and Nicole and Aaron and Kim. Oh my goodness, so many people are popping on. And the other Tammy, we have two Tammys that are working with us right now. You've got quite the fan club out here, Tonya, right now.
Oh.
Everybody's popping in to hear your story. So I just wanted to give one little piece of info to everyone, and then Tonya, I'll let you sum anything up that you'd like
Mhm.
to share with the group if we missed anything. But Tonya, you mentioned weight loss, and I just wanted to hit on that a little bit. We are not obviously a weight loss program. That is not our goal here, but that is a beautiful, happy side effect. And it's not really weight loss that is the happy side effect. It is ideal weight, getting you toward your ideal weight. That's the happy side effect. So some women need to gain a few pounds because they've been so food scared because of migraines that they're not eating well. Some women do have some few pounds that they could lose, because they just have been so inflamed that their body's holding on to all that extra fat and by, actually changing and working on the protocol, that can happen. And then there are some women, this is really the majority, that might think they're a healthy weight, but they actually have a lot of visceral fat, which is unhealthy. And we really want to shift that to muscle. So if any of you feel like you fall into that category, a couple times a year, we do a boot camp that focuses on this exact topic. And at the time of this recording right now, which is what's today, April 4th, the boot camp happens to be next week. So for any of you who are interested in the boot camp, make sure you comment below. I didn't want anybody to miss that. Okay, as we sum up here, Miss Tonya, thank you so much for your time. You have a captive audience here. What would you like to say to these ladies?
I guess my advice would be, if you think that this, that this group can help based on what you've seen so far, that kind of go with your gut, which is what I was a bit referring to before, that I wish I had done it sooner. I haven't reached my goal yet. Like I said, I've been in 6 months. I'm not migraine free, but I've cut my medicine by like 80%, my migraines by about 75%. When I do have them, they're not as bad, not as long. So it's been a wonderful experience. And one of the best things that I didn't talk about yet was really the support that you get in the Facebook group. I think the women's group is good, but when you're a member, you get access to coaches, you get access to really, and not just the coaches, they're wonderful, but the whole team, the whole group, all the members, they've been very supportive to me. And, when you think that, oftentimes you think, or I did, I'm sure other people too, that, you get a bit depressed, you think you're alone and no one knows what you're going through. And just in that community there, it was a tremendous help to me. You could ask any question you needed to, or just kind of vent, or just say, hey, I'm not feeling good, and everybody understood and offered support, and that meant a lot.
Oh, I'm so glad it did. For those of you who are, brand new to this group and are not sure what we're chatting about, we have a group program called the Freedom from Migraine Method. And we spend about 4 to 6 months with the women who decide to join this and actually work through each of the 6 key areas of inflammation. It's like taking a course. You are literally going through module after module. There's like 12 of them, but it walks you through step by step. So there's no more guessing for you. There's no more doing that Dr. Google search and trying to figure out what's right for you and what's wrong for you. And as Tonya mentioned, we put you in a separate group. So there's like 70 of us in there so that we can really hone in on what you specifically need to do. It's great to have a foundation, but then we need to make sure that we tailor that foundation to each and every person, because everyone's a little bit different. Everyone's at a different phase in their life. Everyone has different food, possibly sensitivities or allergies or intolerances. Everyone can exercise at a different level, whatever it may be. And knowing that you can be in this safe space to, as Tonya said, ask your questions, vent, get support, and know that there's zero judgment because everyone else in there is going through the same thing, people tell me is invaluable to their process. So I'm so glad that it was such a support for you.
It definitely was.
Amazing. Oh, we have so many people here. Well, everyone, thank you. Thank you so much for being here to listen to us today, to hear Tonya's story. I think it's so important for you to continue to see examples of hope, that there is a way, because there's so many of you out there that are just so scared and so fearful that, there is nothing that can help you, that you stick with all those management tools. But we're here to let you know you don't have to. You can put away those management tools. You can step into root cause solution, and you can find your version of migraine freedom like Tonya has. I mean, barely taking any meds anymore, reduction of migraines by 75% in 6 months. And there's no doctor that can touch that statistic. Not one that I know of anyway. So, and it just keeps getting better, right? As you continue time, you keep healing, you keep learning. And it took me about a full year, till I got to full migraine freedom. But within 4 months time, when we work with women, you can see a drastic change if you put that work in, which obviously Tonya did. You were definitely one of the more active people in the group, and it shows. It shows. You get what you put into something, right? Amazing. All right. Well, thank you again so much for being here. Really appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank you.
Thank you everyone else for being here. Let's take a quick peek at what next week is. So next week, I can't wait. This was amazing today. I say every call is my favorite. They're all my favorite, but next week we're going to do a special call that is going to be a focus on moms that have come into this group to find support for their daughters.
Mm.
We are noticing a massive escalation in the amount of kids. And when I say kids, I mean like ages 5 to 21 that are suffering with migraines, unable to go to school, not able to do sports, not able to work. And the influx of moms that we're getting in here just scrambling for anything they can do for their daughters is huge. So if you are one of those moms, please make sure, why don't we just comment daughter below? And then Kathy or Valentina will reach out to you to make sure that you get the link for next week's call. I would love to get you all on live with me so we can all chat together and see if we can come up with some solutions to help your daughters not have to live 20, 30, 40, 50 years with migraines. Because as Tonya said, you don't have to. Don't wait that 5 months. Don't wait. Let's do it now. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Here's to your migraine freedom, and we'll see you in the group. Take care.
All right.